Hello students, today we are going to study plane polarized light. The normal light as we see in our daily life is an electromagnetic wave, and we all have studied in chemistry in class 11th that electromagnetic wave is composed of electric field and magnetic field. These two electric and magnetic field oscillates perpendicular to each other in all the possible planes. So that's why when we say normal or unpolarized light, you can see here, this unpolarized light is oscillating in all the possible directions. Whatever possible directions will be available, these light will oscillate in all the possible directions. For example, sometimes electric field will be in XY plane, magnetic field in YZ plane, and after few seconds or in fraction of seconds, electric field will go to YZ plane, magnetic field will go to XZ plane, and like this there will be change of plane of light during course of time. So we cannot say that here oscillation of light is restricted only in one plane. It is oscillating in all the possible planes. But when the same unpolarized light is passed through Nicol prism, which is made up of calcite. Calcite is calcium carbonate. It is a polymorph of calcium carbonate. This is also calcium carbonate, and this Nicol prism is also made up of calcium carbonate, but both are different. Nicol prism is made up of polymorph type 3, and this is different polymorph of calcium carbonate. Means the arrangement of atoms of calcium and carbonate in Nicol prism is different than this job. So we are not going to discuss about this. Here we will only discuss that this Nicol prism is made up of calcite material, which is polymorph of calcium carbonate, and when unpolarized light passes through this Nicol prism or calcium carbonate, it causes absorption of one of the components of electric and magnetic field and results in oscillation of electromagnetic waves, that is light here, only in one plane. That's why it is called plane polarized light. This is known as plane polarized light. So I think it is clear to you that what is plane polarized light and what is unpolarized light. Unpolarized light, in unpolarized light, electric and magnetic fields of electromagnetic waves oscillates in all the possible directions, while in case of plane polarized light, it oscillates only in certain plane, only in one plane, and results in generation of plane polarized light. In optical chemistry, yesterday we have studied about the chiral carbon, and I told you that chiral carbon shows optical activity. Means when this plane polarized light passes through chiral carbon or compound containing chiral carbon, then it results in rotation of this plane polarized light either in clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction. When this plane polarized light is passed through the solution, organic solution containing compound which is optically active, and when we will say that compound is optically active, when that compound will not contain any element of symmetry, that is it will neither contain plane of symmetry, point of symmetry, axis of symmetry. But in class 12th you have to only concentrate on the fact that there should be chiral carbon. If compound contains chiral carbon, it will be optically active, and when this plane polarized light passes through that optically active compound, then this plane polarized light will either be rotated in clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction. So on the basis of rotation of light either in clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction, we categorize that optically active compounds as dextrorotatory compound and levorotatory compound. Now levorotatory compound, we talk about the levorotatory compound. When this plane polarized light is rotated in left direction or in anti-clockwise sense, then that compound is said to be levorotatory. When this plane polarized light is rotated by the optically active compound in left direction or in anti-clockwise direction, then this compound is said to be levorotatory. But if compound rotates that plane polarized light in clockwise direction instead of rotating in anti-clockwise direction, if it is rotated in clockwise direction or in right-handed direction, in that case this compound is called dextrorotatory compound. So two types of optical phenomena is shown by optically active compounds, that is dextrorotation and levorotation. Suppose a compound, we have mixture of two compounds, dextrorotatory compound and levorotatory compound, and dextrorotatory compound is 2 mole and levorotatory compound is 1 mole, and we dissolve both dextrorotatory and levorotatory compound in a test tube, and then we pass this plane polarized light through that test tube. As I have told you, dextrorotatory is 2 mole and levorotatory is 1 mole. So what will be the net rotation of this plane polarized light? It will rotate in clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. So here we can clearly say that as the dextrorotatory is present in more amount, so net rotation of this plane polarized light will be in clockwise direction, and so the solution will show dextrorotatory behavior. Now if the levorotatory compound is 2 mole and dextrorotatory 1 mole, then plane polarized light will be rotated in left direction or anti-clockwise direction, and we will say that net behavior of the solution is levorotatory. But what if both dextrorotatory and levorotatory are present in same molar ratio? Means if we have taken 1 mole dextrorotatory compound, 1 mole levorotatory compound, and both compound we have dissolved in a solution, and then we are using that solution for the optical measurement, then this plane polarized light will be rotated in clockwise or anti-clockwise. Obviously it will be neither rotated clockwise nor anti-clockwise, because dextrorotatory will rotate this plane polarized light in clockwise direction, and at the same time levorotatory will come rotate this plane polarized light in anti-clockwise direction with same amount. It will rotate in anti-clockwise direction in same amount. Suppose this is my hand and this is plane polarized light, it is going through the solution, and dextrorotatory is rotating it in clockwise direction and levorotatory is rotating it in anti-clockwise direction. Then what will be the net rotation? There will be no rotation. There will be no rotation in plane polarized light. Whatever light is sent, same will come out from the solution. So here solution is optically active because it is interacting with this plane polarized light, or we can say it is rotating plane polarized light. But when this light comes out of the solution, then net rotation is 0. So here we will say that there is external compensation. Here we use the term external compensation. What is the meaning of external compensation? That rotation in light is there. Plane polarized light is being rotated by the molecules, but due to compensation, means if the levo is rotating 90 degree in anti-clockwise, then dextro is rotating clockwise in 90 degree, and so the rotation is compensated, and because of that compensation there is no net rotation, and we say that overall this solution is optically inactive. So this equimolar ratio, whenever we prepare any solution in which there is equal moles of dextro and levorotatory compound, then such solution or such mixture is called racemic mixture, and the net optical activity of racemic mixture is 0. Net optical rotation is 0, and the reason for that is given external compensation. This word is used. Sometimes in objective question this is asked that racemic mixture shows no optical activity due to external compensation, internal compensation, and there will be other two options. So the correct answer will be due to external compensation, the net rotation in light is net rotation in plane polarized light is 0. So this was about the optical activity that I have taught you SN1 and SN2 reaction, and there I have mentioned two words, inversion of configuration and retention of configuration. Suppose if we are taking an alkyl halide which is optically active and if it is going through SN1 pathway. Now I expect that whenever I am using the term SN1 pathway, then you are understanding this. So if this reaction is going through SN1 pathway, then what will happen? There will be rotation of light. It is optically active, so optically active compound rotates plane polarized light, so there will be rotation of light. If this optically active alkyl halide is dextrorotatory, then it will rotate light in clockwise direction, and if it is levorotatory, then it will rotate light in anti-clockwise direction. But when there will be nucleophilic substitution, means in alkyl halide is replaced by any other nucleophile and it is going through SN1 pathway, then in the mechanism part I have shown you that there is equal possibility of inversion of configuration and retention of configuration. So if there will be inversion of configuration, then our dextrorotatory alkyl halide compound, we have started our reaction with dextrorotatory alkyl halide compound, and it will give a product which will be levorotatory if there is inversion of configuration. If there is retention of configuration, then if we have started our chemical reaction by taking dextrorotatory alkyl halide, then the product will also be dextrorotatory. As there is equal chances of inversion of configuration and retention of configuration in SN1 reaction, so we'll get product which will be mixture of dextrorotatory compound and levorotatory compound in equal moles. And that's why we say that during SN1 reaction, racemization of product takes place. The meaning of this is, whenever you will get a mixture that will be optically inactive due to external compensation because it contains equal moles of dextrorotatory and levorotatory compound. When we come to SN2 reaction, in SN2 reaction, we all know that bond formation and bond breaking both takes place simultaneously, and there is always inversion of configuration. Why there is inversion of configuration? Because for the nucleophile there is only one way through which it can approach the carbon atom, because simultaneously it has to approach the carbon atom and there will be bond dissociation between carbon and halide, especially in case of here whatever we will discuss, that we will discuss only for the alkyl halides. So simultaneously nucleophile will make bond with the carbon atom and there will be dissociation between carbon and halogen. So there is only one way through which this nucleophile can approach the nucleophilic center, which is carbon in alkyl halide. So there is always inversion of configuration. When inversion of configuration is there, then if we have started our reaction with dextrorotatory alkyl halide, then definitely our product will be levorotatory. And if we have started our reaction with levorotatory alkyl halide, then our product will be dextrorotatory. So in this case, what is happening? Inversion of configuration. Sometime question is asked, objective question is asked in very non-competitive examination like IIT and other entrance examinations, that racemization of products takes place in SN1, SN2, and there will be other two options. So the correct answer will be SN1. Racemization takes place in SN1. Inversion of configuration takes place in SN2. Question will be like that we have started a dextrorotatory alkyl halide and it is giving levorotatory alkyl halide. Then it is following which of the following pathway for the nucleophilic substitution? Option will be SN1, SN2, and rest two options will be there. So correct answer will be, if it is changing from dextrorotatory to levorotatory only, then definitely it is SN2 pathway. And if it is said that we have started our chemical reaction with a compound which is optically active, that is dextrorotatory, and we are getting a product which is optically inactive, we are getting a solution of product which is optically inactive, then this will follow the pathway SN1. So this is the way by which we approach the question. On the basis of the same question, different questions can be raised, but if your concepts are clear, you can answer those questions very clearly and confidently. So hope you have understood about the plane polarized light, dextro rotation and levo rotation. There is one instrument for measuring this optical rotation known as polarimeter. In your syllabus there is no you need not to study about the functioning of polarimeter, but you should know that which instrument is used for measuring the rotation of plane polarized light. That instrument is polarimeter. So hope you have understood this concept of plane polarized light and optical rotation, and you can combine this concept with the nucleophilic substitution reaction SN1 and SN2. If you have any doubt, any confusion, you write in the comment box. And if you have not seen my previous video of SN1 and SN2, please go through those videos and then you see this video, only then it will be helpful for you. I have also uploaded animation of SN1 and SN2. You should go through those videos also, because it will give you three-dimensional picture of nucleophilic substitution reaction. What we are drawing here, that is only two-dimensional structures, but in that video SN1 and SN2 animation part, I have shown you three-dimensional views of reaction. So you can go through those videos also. So hope you like this video. Thank you.